Hello, welcome back. Episode 7, and there's another face down in the bottom right corner here. Welcome, Matt. We've got our first guest, guys. Welcome, Matt. Matt's one of our local players from Sheffield. There, well, one of my local players from Sheffield. But no, I'll let you introduce yourself, Matthew. The stage is yours.
Hello, I'm Matt. I like Warhammer.
To start.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I used to play when I was a kid. Played 5th edition Fantasy, Blood Bowl, Gorkamorka, Necromunda, 40k. Then, like most people, discovered beer and girls and music and stuff. Had a long break from the hobby, and then jumped back in a few years ago. And now I'm fully on board with Old World.
Yeah, I think as we all are, right? You too. I think we all did the same thing, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think. Well, Jack, you've not even stopped playing 8th Ed, so.
I thought you were going to say I've not discovered girls yet. So.
No, fair. I didn't want to go there, but like I said, I want to be nice to you, Anna. So
I'm having some technical issues today, so I'm on my phone. So apologies.
Yeah, I was just going to actually say, so if Jack looks a bit fuzzy, we have had technical issues, but we've sorted it now. Jack, you're on your phone, aren't you? So I don't know what the delay is going to be like, but we'll deal with it as we always do. Right, so we do have an agenda, as we always do. Liam, you said you've just amended it as well, so I better check that before I start going into stuff. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, so we're going to do news first this time. Liam, I think you've got a slide ready, haven't you?
Yeah, stick it in.
This one, right? This is where it gets technical, Matt. Watch this.
Okay, I'm ready.
Oh! Boom!
That's a transition if ever we've seen.
Boom! So we've got the Beastmen Brayherds due out next week, 2 weeks as of recording.
As of recording, about a week and a half. When people listen to this, it was probably out last weekend.
Yeah. When you've gone through all the other 6 episodes.
No shade in Dan's editing times there.
Oh, yeah. So they've been announced. It's literally one of those where they've just swapped the boxes, haven't they, from AOS to Old World, essentially, or just added more changed the bases and then added more models into the units, because I think it was like 10 gore in the AOS one, and then now it's like 30 or something. Is that right in the boxes? I've not seen all the boxes properly, but
I've got no idea.
Yeah,
it's a big unit of Old World stuff.
Yeah, going from like the past boxes, usually put like 32 models in each of them now, don't they? Because obviously the old kits were 16 models, weren't they? Because you usually had to buy 2 boxes to get a full unit of 20.
So I imagine these will be in 10s because the units from AOS came in 10s. Well, and these were the old sprues from 7th edition anyway, maybe 6th edition, something like that. So,
Matt, have you ever played Beastmen? Or not with? I mean, I know you played against them.
Yeah, when I used to play 5th, my last army that I started collecting was Beastmen.
Nice.
But I think that if I remember right, the book was it was like a black cover. It was different to the other army books, and it had all the Chaos factions in it, like Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen, and Demons all in one. If I remember right, I might be remembering that wrong.
Yeah, I think it used to be like a combined book.
Yeah.
That was that. Yeah, Beastmen were the last army that I started. I remember getting the Beastmen battalion box as it was at the time for Christmas, and then that's when I started drifting more towards specialist games like Gorkamorka and Necromunda. So I didn't really play them a lot, but I did have them.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's been absolutely hundreds of leaks about as well. So as a recording, probably a lot of people have seen the stuff anyway. But we've got 2 main factions in it, haven't we? Jack, I don't know what I'm talking about. You're the Beastman player of the group. You're the one and only Beastman, Jack.
But Liam,
go on, you talk us through it. I know Liam's just, I think, has got childcare.
Liam's just done a nice review of them over on his other social media platforms. But so obviously 2 new armies of infamy. We've got let's get these right. We've got the Wild Herd. And we've got the
Minotaur Brood, is it something like that?
Something along those lines. I don't, like I said before, I don't really like to delve too deeply into journals from leaks. I like to wait until I get the physical copy. So, still waiting for that to arrive. But I've had a quick look, and they look very excited.
The Minotaur Blood Herd because it's on Old World Builder.
Minotaur Blood Herd. It's already on. Nice.
It's already on. Yeah.
But yes, I am very excited to sort of get the army back out. It's been a little while since I used them. I've got 12 Minotaurs painted up, so I'm excited to get them on the field and see what they can deliver. GW have long been telling us. Well. GW have long been telling us that they are capable of one shot in a dragon, so it's time to put that to the test, I think.
Saying that, I was watching one of Ed's battle reports earlier. Was it against you, Jack, or was it a different Jack?
A different Jack.
And his Minotaurs killed a dragon. So maybe we've all been taking the mick out of the community website for no reason.
I mean, to be fair, in our local group, and Matt, you'll obviously agree with this, every one of them plays Beastmen, and they've all got the metalists, haven't they? They've all got the Hag Tree Fetish, bloody Viletide spam, and Dragon Ogres everywhere. At least 8 in each list.
They didn't have anything else, Dan. They didn't have anything else to play.
Yeah.
So now, hopefully, we'll see a bit more variety across
I'm
the
hoping so.
I think all three have got play, like the sort of base army now with a few extra additions from the journals, and I think both the journal book have got play in them. So I'm excited to test them out and see what they can deliver. Liam's spent a bit more time looking into them so far, so I'm sure he'll be ready to give some hot tips.
Hot tips,
definitely.
Does one of these army lists make Minotaur's core then?
Yeah. So it's the Minotaur blood thingy one. Yeah, Blood Herd.
That's cool.
Yeah. Although I was making the list I sent you guys earlier in that chat, so I made a list earlier.
The one we both ignored.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one you both ignored. It were illegal anyway because you need 2 Minotaur units.
Yeah, 0 to 1 per 1,000.
1 per 1,000, isn't it? Yeah, which is annoying, but yeah. I've kind of found that. Go on.
I say we'll circle back round to Minotaurs, shall we?
Yeah, go for it.
Talking about Beastmen later.
Yeah, we can do that later. So I'm assuming those pictures are basically the 2 armies of infamy, right?
They were the 2 first pictures I found on the GW community website.
Ah, amazing. There you go.
So one of them happens to be Minotaurs, and I guess the other one could be Wild Herd, but
yeah, it's a mixture of everything.
Beastmen battalion, I think.
Okay, fair. Yeah, it does look like because it's got Ungor and Gore and Cygor / Gorgon, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Aye.
This
is a big one. Matt, maybe not for you, which we'll go into in a bit, but this is quite a big one. So the match play guide is, we don't know when it's going to be out. I think they're not given any specific dates or any up for pre-order dates or anything, did they? So
no.
What I am interested in, because obviously with me running events and stuff as well, there is actually, I didn't realize this until I saw it yesterday. There's actually double scenarios on the missions, isn't there?
Yeah.
Really, really good actually. So that helps massively.
Yeah, that looks good fun.
Yeah, and 6 new missions. Hopefully they're all playable because, as we know, there's probably 2 out of the main rulebook which don't really suit tournaments. But yeah, it's interesting. And the other one, what really caught my eye, I don't know if you guys agree as well. The one under scenario 6, where it says secondary objectives.
So I imagine Jack will be quite used to this kind of thing from, was it where you had them in like 6th, 7th, 8th, where you'd have like a mission to go and do, you have an overall mission.
Yeah.
And then you'd have like a mission where you had to kill a general or hold on to something or like do something extra.
Yeah.
But
Matt,
I did
would that change your opinion a little bit?
As long as it's flavorful, as long as it tells a story.
Yeah, I think that's it anyway. I think the problem is not the problem. The thing I've seen is everyone just plays open battle now. Like you rock up to a table. Do you want to roll for a mission? No, let's play open battle. So I think it needs it, doesn't it? I think the actual
Why?
What would you mean? Why in terms of which one?
Why
play open battle or do they?
Yeah. No, why the vast majority of people just play?
I don't know, mate. Don't know. I mean, obviously when we're down to the club, nobody seems to roll for a mission anymore. They just play open battle. I don't know why. I think it's because it's the easiest to for pickup games. It's the easiest, obviously, to put down and go right. Here's an army, there's an army. Let's just fight. So I guess probably ease. But I wouldn't mind. I don't mind rolling for missions because I'll play them all anyway. So
yeah,
my favorite game out of the core book is the tower one.
Yeah, because there is a secondary objective essentially, isn't there?
Yeah, and I don't know, the concept of garrisoning the middle tower is just so much fun. One of my favorite memories of playing Old World is having a unit of Iron Drakes in that tower fighting off a goblin horde that was trying to take it from them, and it's just so evocative.
Boom.
Yeah.
Well, that's thematic though as well, isn't it? Right, because that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy in terms of obviously a TO. This is fine now. This is great because we're getting new missions. It's now, I think, it's also adds in which missions do you pick? is probably the biggest problem now. Because obviously
hopefully there's 6 playable missions.
Yeah, you'd hope
literally,
so. Yeah.
Well, you'd hope that at least 3 of them are for one day. You'd hope that all of them are, but even if, I don't know, drawn battle lines is horrendous for whatever reason, that still leaves you with 5 other ones for most GTs.
I think having 6 is nice because you can just say, at the event we're going to roll for missions, and you've got to make a much broader army which suits all those missions, and so you're not a lot of tournaments just say, we're going to play this one, we're going to play this one, we're going to play this one, and so people can tailor their lists to those missions. Where I think if we have this broader set and you basically just say, I'm going to roll the dice at the start of each round and that's what we're going to play, then people have to sort of think a bit harder at what they're going to bring, and you won't just see the same sort of meta lists every time, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it depends how the secondary objectives are delivered. Because if you look at 40k, for example, you could go 2 ways. Where if you go down the ITC route, where you choose your secondaries based around your playstyle or your army, or go to what was it called, Tempest of War, where you're drawing cards at the start of every turn or something to see what missions you need to do. I love that. I absolutely love that. That was one of my favorite things about jumping into 8th edition 40k was the drawing the cards every round and having to adapt your tactics, and you never know what you've got to do to get your victory points.
Yeah, I think sometimes from going from my past with the 40k tournament scene and stuff like that, the Tempest of War, whatever it's called, the random drawing were horrendous at tournaments, because I know you've got to build a list to do certain missions, but sometimes you get cards that you can't do and you're just like, oh well, there's points gone. So I think it's definitely I liked that one, but definitely preferred it just to play casually. Do you know what I mean? Just so you can just mess about. I think in a tournament scene, I think it's harder because it is just random luck into it. Yeah, I mean the secondary objectives, I'm hoping they're just points on the battlefield. So you've actually got, because you would have strategic points on battlefield, wouldn't you? To say, right, well, that wood there would be perfect strategic place to hold on to because it covers X amount, or that hill. I would assume King of the Hill is going to have something in the middle, a bit like the tower, but a hill.
I think that's kind of the one we can guess at easiest from those.
Yeah, almost
6,
guess
isn't
at,
it?
yeah.
But you were saying earlier, Matt, about as long as it's got a narrative reason, each of them have got a title, a narrative name. They haven't just called it Scenario 1, Scenario 2. They've given it a name. Hopefully that does play into it a little bit more than it just being we're playing quarters or we're playing lines.
Yeah, I love that about the scenarios in the main rulebook as well. So you've got the Battle for the Pass, where the long table edges, you can't flee off them because you're in a valley kind of thing. They've done a really good job with the scenarios to add that flavor into it and that reason why this rule is in place.
Yeah, talking narrative scenarios, I guess. So a question to all of you: have any of you actually played the narratives in each of the journals?
This is
my journals.
This is my plan going forwards. 100%.
I'd like to play the new one in the Wood Elf book because that looks actually quite cool. The Herdstone, which is weird because it's a Beastman mission. I think it's more a Beastman mission holding on to the Herdstone. But
it's Wood Elf's defending, isn't it? Wood Elf's defending while Orion tries to speed to help them bail them out.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's a quite cool one.
I'd like
to try that.
Obviously, the Wood Elf now, having seen the snippets of the Beastman Journal, you can see a lot of why the Wood Elf Journal is written like it is, with all the leadership, sort of leadership anti-debuffs and that sort of stuff. So I think obviously the narrative was wrote, like to sort of help feed you, like sort of lure you into using some of those items and some of those, that 80-point leadership 10 banner, that sort of stuff. So I think they obviously seem a bit more. Obviously you look at them now and go, okay, that's why they're in there. So, but no, I would like to play through those journal battles.
Not done them. The thing as well, it's not just the Arcane Journals. Every army book from every edition of Fantasy has a scenario in there to play. And I've been looking back at the 5th edition army books that I've got. Then, like, all of them could be easily adapted to Old World.
Yeah, I was playing Triumph and Treachery today. That could very easily be adapted to Old World.
I wish they'd bring that back because that was so fun. It's probably one of the best ways to play Warhammer. That with multiple people, obviously.
On Mountain Miniatures Gaming, they did at least a couple of battle reports that were multiplayer Triumph and Treachery, and they seem to have adapted it pretty well.
Okay, I might have to check that out because that was one of the coolest things about 8th Ed.
I think it's just one or two cards probably don't work now, which had stop Steadfast or stop Horde, that sort of stuff. But the majority,
it's one of those where you just have to get your heads together, isn't it, and almost FAQ it for yourself, basically. No, I'm looking forward to the match play guide. I think everyone who's not even necessarily tournament thingy, but the fact, like Liam said, they're called scenarios, so they will have some form of narrative about them, like the main rulebook missions have. They've got a backstory before you actually play the mission. So yeah, I think that's that should be quite good. And also the very bottom bit where it says the Alliance of Warlords and additional rules, that'll be interesting as well to see what they are, because obviously they've not put anything out about this apart from this very thing here, right? Nobody knows anything about it, so
I presume that's the sort of table of what factions can go together in the doubles and that sort of stuff.
Possibly, yeah, that could be, yeah. It'd be interesting to see.
Does that say secret objectives?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well, yeah.
So there's quite a lot in this book, which I do like.
But what I like as well is that they said in the article it's optional. So you can literally, if you're doing a beginner's match play tournament, you just play with scenarios.
Yeah.
You're doing a slightly more intermediate one when people are more accustomed to it. You maybe do the scenarios with the secondary objectives. Yeah. And if it's a Masters event, and stick in match play scenario, secret objectives, and secondary objectives, and go wild.
That could be spicy.
Just build it how you want.
Which is mint. Which is really, really good, because they're not saying this is what you should do. This is how you do it. It's here's your tools, build your house.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I really like that. I'm really looking forward to this as well. Like, not just obviously for tournaments, but just in general. I think this will go down well at the club, Matt. If I'm being honest, because everyone seems to be quite open-minded, apart from when they're just playing open battle. If they're told what to do, maybe they'll play.
Again, this is the encouragement not to play open battle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even if you made it so your next league or campaign, whatever.
Yeah.
Week 1, you're playing Field Upon Glory. Week 2, King of a Hill. Week 3, and just rotate them.
Yeah.
You have to buy more hills, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, tell me about it. I need to buy more hills anyway. But going with like you've just said with the optional stuff as well. In theory, you have, let's say, you've got 6, 12,
128
weeks worth of. Well, you've got 18 weeks worth of stuff, really, and then you can add more in, because you could do, like you say, your basic scenarios. Then you add the second set, so there's the second 6 weeks with the secondaries, and so on. So, yeah, there's a lot of play with that, which is mint. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and then you can also use the secondary objectives in the current.
Yeah. You'd hope they'd come over, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I think that's the hope anyway.
It's probably worth also noting that in this sort of article around this, it also sort of teased the next FAQ. And some potential rebalances to a couple of key units across the game. I can assume we can all make some educated guesses at what they are, but we'll wait and see what they come out as in the wash.
I think it will totally validate your list from the weekend, Matt. With what we've been hearing, your big blocks of orcs. I think it's definitely going to improve those guys. But no, I'm looking forward to everything that's coming out. And the thing is, as well, I think it's all been quite well received. And a lot of certain groups of AOS people I've seen have absolutely slated the newest GHB from what they've seen. So, but it seems to be really positive from the all world side of things. So it's only good for the community, isn't it? So
we're 18 months in, and everything's still new and shiny. So
yeah. I mean, it's a baby, isn't
still
it?
building,
I know it's not for a lot of people, but it's still in baby steps, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
What's next? Is that it? I think that is it, isn't it, for this week?
Is it for news?
That's it for this week. All right, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll
see you. Bye. Right, should we start with our guest then? Matthew, what have you been up to for this past couple of weeks? Or what have you just been up to in general? Because obviously you're not on every week. So what have you been up to hobby-wise?
Orcs and Goblins.
Yeah.
I mean,
less Goblins, more Orcs.
Yeah, I technically I have a Doom Diver painted, and I'm in the process of priming a second Doom Diver now. It was pretty relentless because when you, I don't attend a lot of events. I'm not really a tournament player, but when you announced the teams event that we've just done, I've never done a teams event, and it sounded like a lot of fun. And I know two other guys, Dan and Luke, who big Orc and Goblin guys. So as soon as you announced it, I asked them to form a team with the concept of it being all Orcs and Goblins. Yeah. But when I asked them, I didn't have a single miniature painted, and I had 5 weeks until the tournament. So I had 5 weeks to paint 60 Black Orcs, a Shaman, a War Boss, a BSB, and a Doom Diver.
They actually do look amazing as well. I'm actually going to try and find a picture now.
I'll do it now and edit in.
Go on then. Liam's like the backdrop guy.
Awesome. Thank you. So I've done nothing but
paint orcs,
Black Orcs for the last couple of weeks. My back hurts. I think I've got RSI in my right wrist. My social life and my work life have suffered for it, but I was there with a fully painted army.
He was there, fully painted, yeah.
You had Goblin Green trays.
I did. Yeah.
You know why you had Goblin Green trays?
Because you forced me to do it.
Exactly. He was going to turn up with black trays. I'm like, no, Matt, you're not.
Yeah.
I'm not letting you play. If you do not paint them Goblin Green, you're not playing.
Yeah.
And you did. Fair play to you. But they looked amazing, to be honest. I actually liked your list because of it's what it should have looked like.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll go on to the tournament in a bit when your views and stuff on it. But I really like the list.
Thank you.
Are we ready to add to stage yet, Liam?
Nearly.
I can see you working. It's really weird because I can see it on my screen what he's doing, but it's like, is he ready yet? Is he ready?
Like, well, I got to we'll go into it later. But I got to play Matt, so I got a nice close up look at his army.
Oh, yeah, you did. You two played, didn't you? Of course.
Yeah, we had a nice discussion. Matt gave me some tips on painting to sort of try and tease me away from my contrast paints, but I'm still hesitant.
Nothing wrong with contrast paints. I think contrast paints are a good basis.
They're a good base, yeah.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big block of green.
It is.
Green cheese.
I also, Jack, remember we had a discussion about airbrushing as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
100%. This is what I say to anyone getting into the hobby. If I could give anyone a piece of advice that's like just starting in the hobby and they want to take it somewhere, get an airbrush ASAP. Don't waste time. I regretted waiting so long to get an airbrush.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well. There's loads of tutorials online as well where you can look at to learn how to use it as well. But yeah, I agree with that.
It's no harder than using a normal brush. They're so useful for like batch painting armies. You can easily get like cool effects. It's like kind of like a cheat code for like blending. You can use it for priming. You can use it for varnishing. They're just ultimate tool. They're just so useful.
Yeah,
so you got all the armor airbrush then on there.
Yeah. That saved a lot of time.
I'm going to say you're going to sit and hand paint all that cream.
Yeah, no, it was base coat of Zamisi Desert and then Zenithal of Pallid Witch Flesh. I actually got the recipe from a random blog on how to paint grimdark Chaos Dwarfs.
Okay.
And I like the look of it, so yeah.
Yeah, it popped. Yeah, I like him. I can say you've done well to paint all them in 5 weeks.
Thank you.
I mean, I was doing a commission at as people saw in the last episode, and it only had like 21 models, and that took me just over 5 weeks. So yeah, you've done a massive job there.
Well, this is really
you look awesome as well, as you can all see. Jack's just blending into all the trees. Jack just brought an army of trees by the looks of it. I think there is actually 2 tree men in that wood, Jack. Is that right?
They cause havoc jumping in and out of woods.
Yeah.
Well, it thematically fits so well. Like Jack's army just fit perfectly on that board. Like,
I mean, to be fair, if they were orcs, they'd probably start chopping at the front 4, right? Like, these are tree men.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of the narrative that I gave for it, is that my orcs were somewhere where they shouldn't be. They'd invaded this part of the woodland realm that was protected by these autumnal camouflage wearing wood elves, and it fits so well.
Yeah, because yours is autumnal, isn't it, Jack? As well, yours painted. So it actually fit the board quite well. That. Yeah. No, they were stunning, Matt. I'm going to say you've done a great job trying to getting them all done in that time as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Who should we go to next? Who's got more hobby? Jack, I'm guessing you've been painting for the same as well, right?
Yeah, I can't remember what I was up to last session. I think I got Orion done, and maybe a tree man, which I think was the metal tree man.
Yes, because the plastic one was the one you did like with a day before Lissel mission.
Yeah. So I pulled together, second tree man, which was, I think, is the Durthu model, the AOS Durthu.
It is
the big choppy sword. So yeah, when I decided I wanted level 4 in the list, I pulled him out and painted him up quick fire to add him into the list. I had some Deepwood Scouts which I was missing, so I was using the old Metal Waywatcher models, so I think I had another couple of those to paint up. I realised that my wood was lacking. Bear with me.
Bless you.
I realised that my wood was lacking, so I quickly painted up a woodland for my free woods and magnetised a load of trees to it, so I could pop them on and off as people entered the woods, or as my sort of trees backed out of the woods. So it was just mainly just a few little tweaks to sort of finish off my list, and I've did a few characters. So I got the sort of limited edition BSB. I've got that painted up. I painted up the old Mordheim Wood Elf model. It was Ain of the Twilight or something like that.
Sword of Twilight.
Is the BSB the one where he's like jumping off like some logs?
It's the one where they like stood on some logs.
Yeah, and the flag and the sword.
Yeah. So I'll get some pictures up on the Facebook group of those. I think I did.
What do you mean? You've not got it to hand now?
No, that's I could walk down with my phone. That's the joys of being hands-free. I think I converted up another Glade Lord on foot and got that painted up. So I haven't done huge amounts as historically I've sort of done an army between sessions, but steady progress, and now I'm on to a load of Eternal Guard. I think I've got 30 Eternal Guard to sort of churn through over the next couple of weeks. Although I'll probably get distracted by Beastmen relatively soon, and the Wood Elves will go back into hiding for another 4 years, I think.
Yeah, but your army's painted for Beastmen, though, isn't it? So it's not like do anything. So you could always just kind of paint in your.
I probably just want to do some touch-ups. Now that I've discovered a new matte varnish, I want to go back all over them because they're all shiny. Because my old varnish just made shiny, so I want to go back over them and sort of matte them out. Yeah, the Colourforge one is really good. So I need to touch up some bases and that sort of stuff before going back and doing those. And then it'll be figuring out what looks fun for the Beastmen journals and prepping.
I don't think fun's the right word, mate.
prepping for the next event.
There's some.
I don't know what my next event is. I can't think of anything immediately booked in.
It's not your 8th ed edition. It's not your 8th ed one, is it?
Might be. I think I've got an 8th ed. That's at the end of July, so I'm sure there must be something in before then. But
yeah, this Matt. It's playing 8th ed over at Old World.
Yeah, I get married in a fortnight.
Why? Legit. Why?
Why am I getting married?
We ask him all the time.
No, why are you playing? Why do you play? I never played 8, so I don't know. But I'm wondering what 8 gives you that Old World doesn't.
So that was my first edition into Warhammer. Really, I only joined into Warhammer over COVID, and that was sort of, the last remnants of Warhammer scattered around was an 8th edition, a group of players that were playing, and a few of them are still happily playing 8th edition and haven't made the transition yet. So it's just something for me to hang out with a different group of players and friends, and sort of just spend some time. So I just take nice chill list. I can't remember any of the rules now because they're all so different to the Old World. So I just go along and usually take something like my ogres I can just push across the board with very little finesse, and just go and hang out with some guys really.
Cool. Me and Liam are on like a mission to break them all. That's what we're trying to get them all to play Old Worlds.
I keep teasing them with the sort of 500 point pack that the TSR pulled out. Be like, quick little game.
Yeah, this one. I mean, to be fair, I actually bought a pack this week, and they turned up yesterday and took them to the club, and everyone's had a look. I'm like, yeah, this is great. It's perfect. It's actually perfect for beginner games. So yeah, I definitely use that pack if you're doing that. Definitely, it looks really good. I'm not playing any games yet, but I'm definitely thinking about it.
I'll keep grinding on them. I'll see where we get to. Maybe in 5 to 10 years. Maybe once the new rule set's dropped and the match plays are out, they might be a bit more receptive to it. But there's a few diehard 8th edition fans that are still happily playing that edition. So while there's still people there, and that'll still sort of dabble between the editions.
Yeah, Liam, what have you been doing?
So a couple of bits. If you want to fly show up. So for those who don't know, I write for Goonhammer. So occasionally we get previews, and one of them was Cormor. So you can go and check out him on the Goonhammer website.
Liam's painted up nicely to donate to me.
I'll put the link in
matching army.
Yeah,
thank you.
It's basically the same. I've got bits of purple in my army. It's fine.
Yeah, it'll work out. So he's all painted up and now sitting in front of me, waiting to figure out what I'm going to do with him. Because I sold my Beastman army, so I've now just got a Shaman and a Familiar, nothing else. Might become a Mordheim Warlock or something. We'll see. Outside of that, I've been printing bases for a new army. They've now been sprayed, painted, down to just like putting the dirt and stuff on them, and I'll be able to start sticking new models onto those soon.
Do you tend to do all your bases separate to like your painted and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so I kind of get into the printed and do, and then just stick the guys on top afterwards. Well, what I tend to do is get into a stage where the base layers down on the base, and then I'll put the model onto the base, paint the model, and then do like foliage and snow and stuff on top of that.
Okay.
So it kind of blends it all together. But I've got some here where kind of a stage of half painted and just base has been textured.
Yeah,
So I don't like putting the texture base around feet and stuff like that. So I just find it easier to do it in 2 parts and then
I was worried that the
build it up afterwards.
Too textured for the feet to sit on nicely, so I always tend to just go straight onto the naked.
As long as you're like not like literally using a trowel to shovel it on, then you're fine. Like you can only put so much on with a coffee stirrer, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's more the clouding, isn't it, with super glue as well? Because with resin, you're obviously going to have to use super glue anyway. Liam, I might have to get you to print me some of those bases because I actually really like them.
Yeah, I quite like them.
Well,
and
good, yours.
Yeah, but like I think they're quite cool. There's more than
they are
they're also meant to be a cobblestone kind of streets and stuff, but I used them for the Mordheim Warband. And then
this what you've got on screen now is controversial.
Nah, so I got the Mordheim Warband done and really liked them from like the free sample pack. So I just went and bought the full pack and then I printed out a load for this new list. So that'd be cool. Right, so I also played a bunch of games of 500 Point Warhammer.
Look how much you've got compared to your opponent, though.
Oh, yeah, I've got. So I didn't really know. Right, new player, he's played 8th and 6th and 7th, and he's going to one of Rob's events. And he's local, and like I said months ago, like if you want to demo game of Old World, then let us know. And I got a message out the blue just saying, I'm going to go to one of Rob's events at TSN, 500 point pack. Would you do me an evening of a couple of games? So yeah, not a problem. Sort it out. He's like, well, I've only really got painted my Dark Elves. So it's okay if I use those. I'm like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. Not a real army, but it'll be okay. And he started getting models out. It's like, here's my wizard and my Dark Riders and my my shades and my warlocks. I'm like, okay, I've maybe not toned up my list enough for this at all. And that first deployment in the middle was, soon I've got entire melee army apart from some throwing axes, and he's got an entire army which shoots. But what we did find out is it's a really, really small board in that pack.
Yeah.
And if you're quick, when there's nowhere to run after turn 2.
44, isn't it? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Especially when you've got 350 charge units, right?
Yeah. So it was, I got in there and I think the longest game was about 40 minutes. We played 4 in an evening. Started at 6 and I was home by 9.
And did you guys 500 point games feel like you're playing Warhammer, Liam?
A version of Warhammer, yes.
They just feel like more time that's sort of scaled up a little bit.
Somewhere in between. But they were really fun.
I mean, your army looks like more models than most 2,000 point armies have.
That's what, 20, does, 23, 29, 20, 35. So yeah, it's more models than some of the armies at the weekend.
I think it's definitely one of those formats where it's got to be played in the same mindset as each other, hasn't it? Rather than saying, right, this guy's just going to go full competitive, and then, like you said, the game. Not saying your list is fully competitive, but you know what I mean.
So first game, I lost like a couple of skin wolves in the first shooting phase. I'm like, great, and I ran at him, and this is probably going to be over. And then this unit of Doomfire Warlocks charged my unit of Berserkers, killed one, lost the combat, and I panicked 3 units off the board.
Yes.
So that was over. Game 2 was the one in the top right. I should have really flipped that photo because that's an horrendous, so you can't see anything. But again, pinned him in a corner, ignored a unit of shades, and they couldn't avoid me in combat. So over game 3, we switched to the Watchtower scenario. Oh no, the hill scenario. So these 2 lakes are actually hills. It's just we needed something that was about the right size from the game store's collection. And again, same thing happened where I ran at him full steam on turn 1, and there was nowhere to go far off the board or into the things that were better in combat than he was. So, and even in the last game when we played the long way scenario, got a couple of pictures. You see, we're only starting 24 inches or 18 inches apart, something like that. And so again, end of turn 3, I think, was when I killed the last Dark Elf. And it was just running into it and seeing what happens. So I've kind of come out of those games thinking that shooting armies with the Ruby Ring were going to be horrendous, and come out of it thinking, nah, don't worry about it. You just speed and combat and get in there.
Do you think they should be like 4-turn games or something rather than 6?
I don't think we got to turn 4 in any of my 4 games. Turn 2, turn 3. Maybe we got to turn 4 in the last one. So I don't think you get. I think you just one of your losers before you get that far into the game.
Right. So I think it needs the list needs to be very similar. Then I think, don't they, to get something out of it.
I think if you were doing like demo games and you took both lists yourself, you'd match them up fairly well, and it'd be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
this is still really fun.
It's definitely something I want to try, and I might try it next week. Like, I think it'd be something you'd actually enjoy, Matt, if I'm being honest, because I think you can. I'll send you the cards what I've got, but some of the scenarios, because they've got map packs on them, haven't they? The scenario cards from Rob's. So, and then the list building is complete. I don't know if have you seen these, Matt? The 500 point ones.
I saw him. I heard him discussing it on Squarebase podcast when they were first talking about it.
The points things. I think is really, really good, and it can work. But like as Liam said, and we've just said there, I think the armies kind of need to be matched to make it. Not that they weren't fair games, but do you know what I mean? Because everything's something is that fast and it's on your turn 1, you've got nowhere to maneuver unless you're a combat army where you punch the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, the primary use case that I would see for this that I'd like to try is like a pre-main battle skirmish. So like a lot of the times historically, like, 2 armies don't hit each other straight away. There's like some kind of kerfuffle, like someone's fallen out with someone, and then that leads to a bigger battle. I'd like to see like a narrative progression between you have a little skirmish, and then the outcome of that determines something else for the next proper big battle.
I really like that idea.
Yeah. It's almost like a escalation, isn't it? So you start at your 500, then your 1,000, then your 2K. You could quite easily do that. That'd be quite an interesting one. Yeah, because it's almost like vanguards, isn't it? All fighting at the beginning, or the scouting parties at the beginning, and then, like you said, then your battle lines and stuff. Yeah, that could be a thing. Well, what I am thinking about doing for our club is our 1,500 point league is coming to an end soon. So running one of these as a league could be interesting. But again, I don't know whether it'll just go one way where it's just the competitive list, which it shouldn't be because of the because of how the points and that are built.
I think you can just. I think if you just literally add on no magical items, I think that sort of tones it down.
Yeah.
Although what Liam's saying, maybe it's not, and maybe that's just what people are thinking is going to be the thing. But in reality, if you're just in combat,
I think that's right. Yeah, if you said no magical items, I think you'd get quite a good game.
Or even if you limited it to like the 20 point and lower ones or something.
Possibly, yeah. Like the hero level ones, because they're 25, aren't they? A lot of the hero level ones.
Yeah, I mean, all I had
That's
was
fine.
one...
I can take my Lord of the Rings list with the high elves. Everyone's got hammer hands.
That would probably be really, really good.
It would be, at 500 points, because but you don't even have to take the shields on the silver helms.
I used to like 3 to 6 silver helms and a hero, like a cheap noble on a horse. It'd be fine.
Yeah, just not even on a horse, just on the noble stood up back. Right, go lads, you can punch people with your rings. Yeah,
right,
I'm like I say, I'm keen to try it.
Say 45 minutes into the episode. Shall we get to the main topic?
Why do you not want to hear about my hobby?
Oh yeah, you're here.
I've not done a lot. I've finished building the list I used yesterday and it got absolutely battered. So my Cult of the Sigmar list. And then I've obviously the Wood Elf stuff's come out, so I've just been building Wood Elves. And then obviously what we're about to talk about in a minute, running this, that thing you guys went to.
You got your commission finished?
Got that finished yet, or would have been a player down? So what we will do then for this this event, should we just go to you first, Matt? Not how you found, just how are your games, and then I'll get your final thoughts at the end after Liam and Jack have. I mean, 'cause obviously you two played as well, so we can do. If you want to just go through your games, mate, you can have a chat about that, and the floor is yours, sir.
We can get through it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because in my first game I scored 0 points. In my second game I scored 0 points, and in my third game I got about 160 or 180 or something. I got battered. Jack. I got absolutely battered in every single game.
There's a reason why I come to you first.
I should clarify that I don't care that I got battered, and I really enjoyed every game that I played. Yes.
Well, like you said at the beginning, you're not a tournament player, are you? So you didn't know what to expect.
No. I play rule of cool, and I don't care what's good and what's not. So I brought, my list was 2 units of 30 Black Orcs, 1 with the Angry Lads flag to give them frenzy, 1 with the War banner, I think, the extra charge range and the D3 inch on your charge. I have a Black Orc War Boss with the Spiteful Shield, which is awesome. I love running the Spiteful Shield.
I was going to say, I was surprised at how well that works, because you don't realize how many times your opponent rolls a 1.
Yeah, I've played, including the tournament and leading up to it, the practice games that I had. I've played 5 games with this exact same list every time, and by far the Spiteful Shield has done more damage than the Choppiest Chopper has, because it's not just hit rolls of 1, it's wound rolls of 1.
It's any rolls of 1, isn't it, in the combat phase?
Yeah. It does loads of damage, and it gives you +1 to your save as well, because there's a shield as well. So
shield, yeah, because I think it's before rerolls as well, isn't it? Because it's natural 1s, I think, isn't it? You know, if you get reroll 1s to hit, for instance, I think it's natural 1s, and then they get to reroll it. I think, isn't it, something like that?
I don't
reading it somewhere.
It'll usually be the sort of reroll, the final sort of.
It doesn't stipulate. And the Trollhide trousers as well on him to give him make him slightly more. I will put in though that my list is entirely WYSIWYG. So when I painted my Black Orc War Boss, I've modelled him with the Spiteful Shield, and I've painted his trousers to look like troll skin, and like he's going to have that. That's his loadout now. He's going to have that every time. That's how it's modelled.
That's how the hobby should be done, mate.
Yes, I agree.
It's very expensive, though. Then if you have to WYSIWYG every single model, and every time you like change, unless you fully like magnetize all his limbs and stuff, and you just got multiple arms. And stuff.
I dabbled with magnetizing when I was playing 40k, and I'm not doing it again. It's way too much work. I had a BSB Black Orc Big Boss BSB with the big red raggedy flag. All of my extra bits and like tassels and fabric and my army is blue, but I did spray a little bit of red in the corner to make sure it was a big red raggedy flag. Nothing else on him, and a shaman with Idol of Gork. I think that's Idol of Gork. The reroll casting 1.
Yes.
I'm making
one, isn't it?
Gork and Mork.
Yeah, one's dispel, one's casting, isn't it?
Yeah. And he's naked with war paint and frenzy because he's a mad lad.
I hope you painted him naked. I didn't see the shaman.
Yeah, he's got blue war paint all over him as well. It's one of the. It's the.
It's the war chanter, isn't it?
War chanter, yeah.
The armor on drummer guy,
yeah. And then what else did I have? A Doom Diver and 2 chariots, 2 not Black Orc chariots, just standard Orc chariots.
Yeah. It looks beautiful.
Thank you. I'm glad it looked nice because it didn't do anything on the table.
I will say, when I saw what I was paired into game 1 and I looked down at my flimsy wood elves, I was a bit worried, and I was like, I cannot let them touch me.
Yeah, that's the problem though, is that they're so slow. You can just you just ran around them all game, just didn't touch them.
Yeah, I think without taking like the what's the move again spell? What's that? Arcane Urgency or TMP? It's just so slow, isn't it? Which is you're basically playing dwarfs that's 1 inch faster. Yeah.
And there's
kudos to you, mate. You went with Rule of Cool, and it looked cool.
Always.
Unfortunately, it's everyone else who are clearly completely sick-minded people.
I had a similar problem in game 1 and game 2. I can't remember exactly what spells they were, but people were just putting vortexes in front of me, and I couldn't dispel them because I'm shit at rolling dice. And I had no choice but to just walk through them, because I have to engage you. I have to go to you. I haven't got the movement to go round it. I don't have the dice rolling ability to dispel it. So in both my first and second games, by the time I actually got anywhere close to being in combat, my unit's in tatters. Like most of them are dead already.
Yeah, I was having to utilize Tree Singing quite heavily to get some dangerous trains, and that's the only thing. I didn't have anything to get through his armor, so I thought, oh, dangerous trains, they'll do the job.
Did a lot of damage.
John, I'm just going to go off on a little tangent here. This is my worry about the new Beastman, the Minotaur list. I think it's going to play very similar to what Matt's Orcs are. The slow, unless you've got obviously the magic ability. There's not many of them because they're expensive, and if you come up against Wood Elves like the books want you to, you're never going to get in combat ever, because they're just going to run around you. So
I would say that you've got your movement 6 on those Minotaurs compared to the movement 4 of the Orcs. You've got more ambushing capability. You've got probably still got 1, maybe 2 wizards, a bit of tide action to draw people in.
Yeah, and I think you've got to remember that the Wood Elf lists have been built to have a lot of Impetrus in them, or Frenzy, and they're not really the generals that aren't really built for avoidance style lists.
No, they're not. They're built for a theme, aren't they? So, and it's just more. I've been built some of the lists. Yeah. I've been built some of the lists on the Old World Builder, because it's on there. Obviously, all the rules aren't on there, but you can the stipulations on there and the criteria on there, because you're putting so many points into the Doom Balls and stuff like that. You've got to take the Minotaur units, which are also expensive. You ain't got a lot left to spend on other stuff. So I think it's going to be one of those kind of, the dwarf list where you have the 2 big blocks of lads that you go near and they kill you. So your thing is go and kill something that's 100 points and then just avoid it. I think that's what it'll be. But I do agree with what Liam's saying. You do have to ambush the 6 inch.
Obviously, with the Herdstone, that's basically a 300 point swing for the Beastman. So you have to kill at least 300 points.
Which is like
they're probably tied up in the Minotaurs.
It's like 100 Ungor.
So those points outside of your Razor Gore, there's probably those 300 points are probably tied up in your Minotaur units. So you have to engage, I think.
I'm not too sure on the Herdstone. I love all the rules and stuff, but I just don't quite think it fits the Minotaur one yet.
You don't get to put it anywhere on the board, right? Apart from your enemy deployment zone. Enemy's deployment zone, I think it's 6 inches within the centre. You can't do it, or something like that.
Fair.
But apart from that, you're good. So if you're playing the defensive list, stick it at the back. If you're playing the Minotaur list, stick it halfway up the board and just run at them.
Which is going to do anyway. Run wild lights. Right, who wants to go next with the tournament? Oh, well, first of all, Matt, did you have a good time outside of your games as an experience?
I did. Everyone that I met was really sound. I enjoy playing Warhammer regardless of the outcome, so I didn't care. I wasn't there to win. I was just there to have a good time, to have fun. all of my opponents were gents, and the standard of painting was really good. All the armies looked amazing.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
but it did confirm for me that I'm not interested in tournament play.
Yeah,
well,
I think Matt. I think talking to Dan about this the other day. Yeah, I think
Oh,
you
Jack,
need to check out
you've
the.
gone to black screen, but it's fine. We can hear you, so carry on.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we can
I
hear you, so
the
carry
other
on.
day that you'd be interested in the Box of Frogs events, which are ran down in Boards and Swords Hobbies in Derby. They're very much focused around narrative play, and that you tend to see a lot more themed armies at those. So I think there's another one due in the next 4 to 6 weeks, I want to say. So I think you should definitely check that out. I think that'd be really up your street.
Cool, nice one.
See if I can find out when they are.
Yeah,
they've got 3 this year.
I might do one.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
start of it's basically the start of a new three event campaign that's coming up. So it's a good time to get involved. And
yeah, they all follow on, don't they, as well, Jack? The events don't.
Yeah.
26th of July, 1st of November, 31st of January.
Nice.
So
might
got
try and get to one of those.
I would say that I was really, really happy to come up against Al in the last round because he had Beastmen, and Beastmen want to run at things and hit things, and my Orcs want to run at him.
I do remember you saying this. So you actually want to fight something.
Finally, in my last game, I got to actually run at things and engage with something in combat. So I still got absolutely battered because I'm not very good at Warhammer, but it was still a lot of fun to roll dice. So,
well, that's the end day. That's what the game is. It's rolling dice and having fun with people.
Yeah, I guess after 6 hours of just rolling dangerous terrain tests, it's nice to roll some attacks.
Yeah, they just taking your models off because nobody likes really doing that. Well, not fighting as well. That's the problem, isn't it? Right.
But like I said, it didn't bother me because, like, I'm a very
that's how you are. That's
player.
a person.
I'll never forget the time that I played against Jack and scored 0 points in a game against Wood Elves. Like that's a memory for me now. Like I'm not bothered that I lost because I enjoyed the game and like narratively it fit. Like it looked like I was in his terrain and the Wood Elf thing, the guerrilla tactic thing, like hit and run and stuff. Like even though I got battered, it was a very thematic game.
I think that's quite important, actually, what you just said there, with the almost like visualizing the story of it all when you're playing the games. I mean, a lot of people play competitively and don't. They just play the game for the game, which is fine. I think me personally, I teeter towards your side. I'd like to visualize what stuff does, and that goes with my. I mean, I can write the filthiest list ever if I want to. I'll probably never play them. I'll write the list, but then I'll always change my list so it makes me happy. Do you know what I mean? Thematically happy. Like with the list I played yesterday against Al, it was just loads of basically crap Empire stuff, but it was a warrior priest leading it because like on a witch hunt. So
just let the dice tell the story. Like it's the same. I'd
rather not, but because mine dice rolls are terrible as well.
It's the same, but that's the story though. Like it's the same. It's the same when I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like most of the time when you're playing D&D, a bad roll is more entertaining and more memorable than a good roll because it tells more of a story. There's more repercussions from it. So, like as long as you've got the cinema playing in your head, you could probably enjoy rolling dice and playing toy soldiers.
I agree. Liam, I see you're poised, ready with the stage.
Let me go first. Liam's.
Have you got Jack's 3 photos on here?
Well, I've got them going.
You're not here,
Jack,
but
me.
Okay, we're going game by game.
Oh yeah. Because I don't know if we did say this, but Liam and Jack were on a team together. With Rob.
and Rob.
Rob.
Yeah. So initially we had planned to have, similar to sort of Matt's team, we had initially planned to have a 3-way We'll just leave it there. 3-way. 3-way Beastman off. When the sort of first rumours of Beastman sort of coming around that time we're in, but then obviously they got delayed. So I then thought we were just a Wood Elf threesome.
We'll just put in there, Jack. That idea was that bad. Liam sold his Beastman.
He got so upset by the delays he sold them.
I don't know. So we all took dragons instead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I decided to bring the Wood Elves along. So I've been painting at those as we'd seen. So yeah, 1750 points. I brought the sort of dragon. The only new thing out of the journals I brought was the aspect of the cat onto the dragon. So it just gave him those re-rolls in the challenge and the extra armor bane on his great weapon. I had level 4 tree man. I had a second tree man who had the -6 leadership debuff, -1 6-inch leadership debuff on him for sort of fear, terror, panics. A couple of units of Glade Riders, a couple of units of Glade Guard, unit of Deeper Scouts, and a couple of Eagles. So yes, as we discussed, I sort of got paired up into Matt initially. And yeah, looking across the board, I was like, oh god, heavily armored stuff. I've got basically no armor piercing other than the dragon. So that wasn't great. So I knew, yeah, obviously one of those units was frenzied. So my initial plan was just to have a sort of Great Eagle pull them round for the game, which worked great for turn 1 until it never passed a rally test and just ran off the board after about 3 turns. So that wasn't ideal. I sort of set my dragon up against the chariots because I thought that was a fight that he could win on his own. So he sort of charged across, beat one, and the other one, unfortunately for Matt, failed a rally test and sort of ran off the edge of the board, which freed him up a lot earlier than I expected. I thought he'd be there for 2 turns, 3 turns maybe, but he sort of managed to get a quick turnaround and sort of headed back over to support his friends as Matt sort of ever increasingly approached my sort of tree men, who were probably the easiest points to catch in the army. Everything else was quite mobile, so they were the sort of static-ish units. So he sort of started heading that way, and I was sort of dropping forests every turn. Matt's wizard was sort of out of dispel range of my level 4 for most of the game, so I had pretty free reign on dropping woods and just sort of forcing him to take dangerous terrains. I was sort of dropping poison shots in there and maybe picking 1 or 2 off a turn, but the dangerous terrain did a lot of the heavy lifting for me. And then I just sort of left the second block alone, really. Just had sort of wild the Glade Riders. Yeah, I just had the Glade Rider that sat next to them sort of in an emergency. If I needed to, they'd just sort of jump in and sort of lead them astray. But yeah, so big block of Black Orcs with the general and eventually made it to my tree men. I sort of dropped back out the woods, so it forced him into another turn of sort of heading towards me without being able to get a charge, which gave me time to get a sort of triple charge with the dragon in the flank and the 2 tree men. The dragon sort of chopped down his lord before he got to swing back. The tree men killed a few of the Black Orcs in the front row. I think Matt got maybe 10 attacks back and missed all of them, which was really unfortunate. I think the spiteful shield sort of sprang against my dragon once or twice, but trying to wound a toughness 6, it didn't do too much. And yeah, I basically just picked off one of his units, left the other units, and took the win, which I was quite happy with. Given that, sort of looking at the army at the start, I was quite concerned about actually getting any points, really, apart from the sort of artillery, which I picked off turn 1. But yeah, like Matt said, it was a good game. It was quite thematic. I was sort of guerrilla warfare, just sort of running around, trying to stop him touching me, because I knew as soon as he got into combat with me, I would lose.
Yeah,
and that was game 1.
Also,
are you doing it? You're alternating, aren't you?
Yeah. So my army was the reduced 2,000 list from the team event the other month. Really defensive dragon with MR2 regen strike last aura. A level 2 with a puppet on battle. 3 units of Marauder Cav, 1 as a bunker for the Sorcerer, 2 to run around and get in the way, a couple of units of Dogs, a couple of units of Marauder Tribe Berserkers, 2 units of Skinwolves, and a giant Chaos Spawn. And that was it. So not a lot of, a decent amount of models still, because it's a lot of it's cost not a lot of points.
It's not massive for Sea Wolves, is it?
No, but a massive point thinking a dragon. A few more pictures there as well. And then my game 1 was up into some goblins, well, some greenskins, obviously, which became a very recurring theme for the day. Yeah. It was a big unit of Goblin Spider Riders with a Poison Banner, an Arachnarok level 4 Orc on a Chariot, which is a big pig at the back, 2 units of small Spider Riders, and a decent unit of Boar Boys. Not really loads to go through here. I ran stuff forward, pinned it into a corner, and on turn 2 I started charging in, and by turn 3 there were no greenskins left. So kind of just engaged it and pushed it off the table.
Screw this man.
We get the revenge in a minute, so it's not too bad. So it was just that big unit of Spider Riders over level 4 in all the points. And in this picture here, in turn 2, this unit, or turn 2, this unit of Goblin Spider Riders charged, or turn 1 even, charged into the flank of these wolves. Didn't overrun far enough, and then I got to charge into them and overrun into the big unit. So it kind of ended the game on turn 2 with a long overrun.
Yeah, that's the only way to get into that block, because obviously it's 5+ poison, isn't it, as well, with all those short bow. So on a hill they're just going to demolish you as you're charging.
Yeah, it adds up quickly, but don't give them a lot of time to shoot and you're fine.
Yeah. More importantly, you finally got to play on my board.
I did, the board that fits my army racing.
Your army, yeah.
Yeah. That was the most important thing.
I don't know if it's worth mentioning here, because it might not be obvious to people that are listening, but because this is a teams event and Jack and Liam are on the same team, this is actually against my teammate Luke.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. And Luke and Dan, who I was on a team with, both very good, very experienced Warhammer players, both very experienced with Orcs and Goblins. Between us, we didn't win a single game.
Yes.
We had a perfect record. Yeah. Perfect record. And my wooden spoon is actually mounted on the wall now in my apartment.
I'm going to say, but you did come away with something, so that's something, isn't it, right?
I did. Yeah, a beautiful wooden spoon.
Your game 2, Jack.
Yeah, I guess just so our teammate Anne Rob, he brought Tomb Kings, got paired into the third member of the team, Dan, for his game, and he got a decent solid win as well. So after sort of round 1, we were top of the leaderboard with the most sort of victory points, with three wins across the team. So we were quite happy going into game 2.
And then we got the only other team that were trying.
Yeah, and then
this were horrendous. These 3 lists were horrific.
And then I got paired into the Peg Circus. I turned around to Liam and went, "Oh no, maybe in trouble here." I'd already experienced trying to get through armor, and that didn't go so well. And now I was having to deal with 360 charges that I couldn't kite as easily. So I was a bit
flying horses,
and I have flying horses. So heroes that could kill my dragon in one swing and that sort of stuff. Yeah. So this one was a bit more nerve-wracking for me. He basically had his Falcon Horn, Paladin, BSB turn off flying for the whole game, which was not ideal for me. So I scouted my Deep Blood Scouts up on the backboard edge, and some Glade Riders who didn't come on until turn 5, which is a bit annoying. Basically took out the peasants. We sort of played hide and seek with the BSB with the Deep Blood Scouts for a turn. He failed relatively small charge to sort of get me running back up the board edge. I was sort of hiding around those ruins in the top left. He failed his charge. I picked off a wound with a standing shoot and then sort of ran around the ruins and just sort of he gave up quite quickly and sort of then proceeded to go back the other edge. So I had a few rounds of shooting to try and pick him off, but I think I got him down to 1 wound, which is a bit frustrating as he sort of got to the other end of the board out of range. So then I turned on some knights who were a bit closer. His Pegasi, I managed to get 1 unit off quite early, actually, with some sort of concentrated fire. I think I killed 1, and then my eagles, which were now movement 2, he sort of got a bit brave with Pegasus. I managed to get a charge off with both eagles into a unit of 3 Pegasus, and yeah, surprisingly won the combat, broke them and chased them down. So I was quite happy about that. So at that point, I was like, okay, I'm up some points. That's cool. He then sort of caught my various bunches of archers with faster sort of knights. I'd sort of taken all the sort of little lances, which were not lances, they were sort of just five wide generally. I'd picked most of them down to like 2 left in the units, but I just couldn't quite get the last points off them. I spent a lot of time again using tree singing to sort of protect my dragon from charges. I probably would have been quite comfortable charging into his lord and killing him, hopefully before he swung back at me, but I didn't really want him to get the charge on me and be swinging first. So I sort of kept giving him options to sort of plonk himself in front of me, but he just kept seeming to find space to get out of my charge arcs and threaten me. So I'd have to shift a little bit, but I couldn't fly because of the horn. So I'd have to, risk dropping the woods and bringing another one. Thankfully, he didn't have a wizard, which made it a bit easier. So I had quite free reign on the magic. I was able to just sort of keep popping these woods in and out. Every so often I'd sort of only get the lower casting off and have a really tiny wood and have to figure out perfectly how to align my dragon. So we spent most of the game basically me just getting pushed back along my board edge. I had my 2 treemen, you can see just behind my woods. And they sort of started to become a bit more threatened by the Duke, and his other characters sort of came along in his big bus of Pegasus. So I needed to keep my dragon relatively close to them to sort of threaten counter charges if they charge into them. And again,
we're just going to say this is mounted pass as well, isn't it? The mission, yeah. So it's obviously a long ways as well.
Yeah, so it was sort of kept just pushing me back, and it basically got to turn 6. I was basically squished right back into this far sort of right corner, and we were, I think, about 50 points difference in score. We both maybe got 300 or 400 points off each other, and he had the second turn, so after obviously he prayed, so he basically had a charge in the last turn where he could have charged his BSB, who was on 1 wound, and his sort of Peg Knight bus, which had 6 guys left, something like that, into one of my treemen. But he sort of looked over to his other teammates and decided that he wasn't going to take it, and he was just going to settle for the draw.
So that could have won or lost in the game on that.
Yeah, could have won or lost him. So we took the draw. We played it out anyway. He whiffed his attacks. I whiffed my attacks. Treeman was unbreakable, so yeah, it would have made it much difference.
Finish a draw anyway.
it would have been a draw anyway. So yeah, we took a draw. So I was actually quite happy with that. After going into the game, being quite concerned that I was just going to get overrun quite quickly. But yeah, I should say that I'd only had my sort of first game with Wood Elves on the Thursday before this event, with a quick sort of club night game with Michael and his Beastmen. So I was still very much finding the differences between my sort of standard armies, my ogres, my beastmen, which are a lot more sort of push and pray, whereas these are a lot more, you have to take the charges that work very favorably for you. A lot of very fragile models. So yeah, it was still very much in the learning experience. So I was quite happy to come out of this with a draw, and I was quite happy to stay out for the team in this one.
Good. My game two,
I know what you
also
played.
Mountain Pass, was another Goblin Poison Banner Death Star. And this one wasn't on spiders, it was 90 goblins strong. There's two ways to play this. And there's two ways to play this matchup. You either hide behind the hill over here and the wood here and hope that the war machines firing them directly don't kill enough to give up a small victory in pure win-loss draw, or you run at it and hope. As Jack said, we'd looked over at each other and Jack wasn't feeling confident. So I decided to run it in the hope that I could get something. I managed to pin for goblins in on maybe turn 4 and got into combat with them eventually. But by that point, it was just for dragon and no unit champion to the left to accept on the dragon's behalf to win the combat. So opponent played really well, kept avoiding me where he could. TMP with that massive block, played directly out of the rulebook, means it can move wherever it wants. And as soon as you start running out of models on turn 3 and turn 4, it is literally any way you want because you can't block it all off like you can early on in the game. And I think the dragon went down in turn 5, which was a big point swing that was needed for me to go down in that game. And
it's rough, that, isn't it? That complete block is so rough.
It's not. I don't feel as bad if it's not Battle for the Pass.
Yeah.
Because you can Battle for the Pass, like if you deploy on that line, you still got a 24-inch gap, but the goblin can move another 24-inch back.
Yeah.
Whereas it can't do that in a normal scenario.
Yeah.
But yeah, played really well. I tried it, didn't make it, and that was it really.
Matt, that's what your team needed. 90 goblins.
Sorry?
All of you. 90 goblins.
Dan had 9 goblins. Dan brought 9 fanatics.
Well,
he just didn't have them. He just didn't have them in one massive brick.
Massive block. Yeah.
So I think so it was a loss for Liam. I took a draw, and Rob took a draw as well, I believe.
Indeed.
Into the sort of third list in this team. So I think that left us in sort of second place after.
Yeah,
after
and what I will say, these guys actually did win the event as well.
Well, spoilers.
Let's
cut that out. Let's put that out.
Well, we know you guys didn't win because they beat you. So.
Well, they could have lost, and then we could have caught them back up.
This army was stunning. I love this army, and the Dragon Ball Z reference there, look, Matt, on the left.
Yeah, I played in. That's who I played in my second round. Xander, his name was Xander. Yeah, super nice guy. Beautiful army, but I couldn't interact with it because he was just throwing spells and artillery and fanatics at me, and I couldn't touch him. So,
spoiler alert, Matt. I performed pretty similarly. So Xander was my game 3. And again, as sort of Liam suggested in his last game, I had sort of 2 options here. I could sort of set my woods up and sort of camp in a corner and try and go for a sort of small loss or sort of a draw. But knowing our scores from the sort of second round, I knew we needed to go for wins and sort of give us any chance of sort of getting back up to that sort of first place. So I set sort of my wizards up in my tree men up in the sort of left corner. I put my dragon on the right. I'd sort of put my 2 eagles over there early on, sort of try and draw some of his stuff out there. But he just played quite well, used the train, and just sort of banged everything pretty centrally. He had the 3 units of goblins with 3 fanatics each, 2 wizards who had both rolled Itch Nuisance, and then he had basically a load of artillery, a couple of Mangler Squigs, and a sort of Gobbo boss on a giant squig, sort of protecting those woods on the top right. Just in case my sort of ambushing troops came on there or my scouts wanted to go up there. So I'd sort of first turn I sort of had everything hidden, so all his artillery was just indirect firing, and he just sort of scattered off. I think he got 2 direct hits on my dragon with a rock lobber and a doom diver, but I managed to pass his ward save on both of them, so that was quite fortunate. And then I sort of made quite a big mistake. You can see I pushed my dragon up quite aggressively. Well, it wasn't even that aggressively in my mind. I sort of put him up on the side of those watchtowers, sort of kept him out of line of sight from the artillery. And I thought, I'm actually quite far away from these night goblins. There's about 15 inches between us. That gives me plenty of space to sort of hide away from fanatics. Forgetting that he got a move before he could release the fanatics on my turn. So suddenly then both those blocks marched up and sort of released the fanatics going into my turn 2. He managed to itchy nuisance me, got me down to toughness 3, and yeah, so I had the choice of stand there and have 6 fanatics get pushed through me, or sort of charge into one of the blocks. Hope they failed the terror test, and I managed to sort of fly over the fanatics and sort of crash into that. So I went for that one. He passed his leadership test, and I then had to run through 4 fanatics for a freebie for him, and then he put them sort of straight back through me, and yeah, killed me pretty handily.
Killed you dead.
Killed me dead, as Dan liked to walk past the table about 10 times during the game and remind me. So that wasn't ideal. My Glaive Riders then came on that sort of right-hand board edge, tried to ping a load of shots into the Squig boss. I think I basically got him down to like 1 wound, and then I sort of reserve moved to sort of what I thought was a safest place. I was about 17 inches away. He then rolled a 17 on his random movement and sort of and got me. And then my second unit panicked off the board. So I was like, oh. So the right hand flank did not go well. But I managed to get his Squig boss. He had to run off the table after that combat, and I set my 2 eagles up to sort of ambush him as he came back on. So I picked up the points of him. And his wyvern sort of on the left, you can see the sort of Cathayan wyvern. I would describe him as, with a sort of Dragon Ball Z orc in front of it. He was sort of started off quite aggressive, sort of pushing down that flank to where my tree men were. And I sort of managed to, I think I basically picked a wound or 2 off with some poison Glade Guard off him for his triple save. I think I managed to hit him with my roots a couple of times, picked a wound or 2 up off that. And then he kept threatening to charge my tree men, but I sort of had them sort of base to base. So if he had to charge 1, he was basically having to multi-charge. And he sort of didn't really fancy it. So he sort of, after he killed my dragon, he sort of retreated back a bit, but sort of kept within range just to threaten me. So I managed to continue to pick off a couple of wounds off him. And then when he had 2 wounds remaining, I threw a pillar of fire at him. I did 2 wounds. He then had a 5-up save and failed all of them, and I took him down. So I was quite happy at managing to claw a few points back there. I think I got 1 or 2 of his artilleries down to like 1 wound with some poison shooting as well, but didn't manage to get them. So it wasn't great, and I sort of finished off with a bit more of a respectable loss than it looked like it was going to be after my dragon died in turn 1. But it was a loss nonetheless. It was one of those lists where I don't know how I could have. I think the right call would have just been hiding behind my woods and making him just indirect fire at me, because
that's
I don't.
Boring.
I don't know how I could have got into those ranks with just like 1 dragon having those itchy nuisances and that amount of fanatics. It was just something that, unless I got lucky with a sort of terror bomb, I just don't see how I could have got in there without getting absolutely hammered.
Yeah, my game against Xander was possibly the most comprehensive battering that I've ever received in my entire history playing Warhammer. I got tabled and I didn't kill a single thing of his. The end score was 2,050 to him to my 0.
Yeah, but I guess your army was tailored for him to just massacre. Like, you want to be getting into those blocks, and you're just walking through 9 fanatics, right?
But it was kind of saved by the fact that my last model was my war boss taking on his entire army on his own.
Come at me, bro.
Literally surrounded by everything that he had. Just my war boss left. I was like, yes, I'll take that as a heroic last stand.
The 2 actual I don't know if it was the first. I think it might have been the first round. Actually, I just thought I'd remembered then. The 2 90 block goblin archer units. The 2 players played each other. and they asked me about how the fanatics work when they're going into each other. I was, well, they hit each other, and then whoever dies carries on going. Whoever doesn't die, so it carries on going. Is that how it works? Yeah, but it's on obviously player's choice. So those two blocks basically had a fanatic off before they started shooting at each other. Which is quite interesting. Quite interesting to watch. Right, Liam, your final game.
So if you can do the math and figure it out, if there were 290 Fnatic blocks and we play in the same positions in each team, I had another 90, well, this is a 95 Goblin Fnatic block. So, yeah.
Oh dear.
This one went slightly better. I rolled Arcane Agency, which helped no end in this matchup. And we're only having a level 2, so it's not guaranteed by any means. I knew. Obviously, rolling, we know Lore Familiar. So on turn 1, I got to send the dragon right into the middle of the Goblin artillery with a nice flank charge. See, is actually where that dice is, just there. It's just difficult to place him on those hills.
Yeah.
And then I kind of pinned in the rest of the goblins without going too far, so that Fanatics couldn't reliably get to me in this turn. That forced the goblins out wide with a TMP in the second turn, and in turn 1 even. And then I kind of backed off onto one side and shoved stuff forward on the other, and kind of corralled them into a corner. So their options were either hide behind the hill, behind the wood that is here, and delay a turn, or go into a position and try and kill the dragon without the dragon being debuffed at all. Gambled on it and came right, you can see in the big picture. Came into there. I think did 4 wounds to a dragon with the poison shooting. But obviously the dragon doesn't care about 4 wounds.
No.
And then all of these units that are here, so dragon, marauders, spawn, skinwolves, all engaged that unit of goblins in combat. Had enough champions there to accept on the big thing's behalf, and I think I killed about 20-25 goblins and pushed them off the board, and that was that. Spent the last turn just kind of, that was a turn 3 charge, and then just spent the last turns killing the last couple of infantry and squad units, and that was it. So it's kind of how I would have liked game 2 to go. I managed to pin them in and corral them to a point with still having enough of my army left to eat it in combat.
I think the mission in the second game probably was more to your detriment than this one, right?
Yeah, didn't help.
Yeah,
it's a double whammy. Like having a small, being closer together and rolling Arcane Agency just means that it's far more reliable in my favour, as long as I stay out of the arcs for the hexes. So just do that, and you're usually okay. But yeah, that was that.
Big win.
And that meant that Rob won that round as well.
Yeah.
So
basically, Rob carried you guys, right? And
yeah,
Rob.
Definitely. Yeah. And Rob carried us.
Because
obviously I couldn't play because I was TO in the event. So there you go. Yeah. So you guys finished second. Well done. And somehow you got most noble, which got a round of fixes, if I remember rightly.
Not quite sure how we got that.
It was on a player vote. Wasn't me. I promise.
Yeah, and it was quite interesting. The player vote was the sort of most voting was done as a team
so it was
just picking your favorite sort of round effectively as a team. So we unanimously chose Matt's team as our favorite opponents, and they were great fun to play against, and somehow I don't know whether every team only got 1 vote each or something, but we somehow managed to scrape.
No, so you guys got 3, and then Matt's team got 2. So which I don't know which team didn't give it you, Matt, but
they're horrible.
You can have words.
But
somebody didn't give it you.
Rob's the nicest person ever.
Yeah, we do know if we got the vote, we got the spot off one of the teams that play both of us, we can assume that we got that vote. But no, we had three great rounds of scrapping, and we were very happy to come away with the second and most sporting. So that's my third most sporting in 3 events now. So I'm quite happy. I've got some sort of name to live to, I think. But I'm sure once I start bringing these beastmen lists, I'll stop winning those for a while.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like I say, it's who knows how that's going to go. I think they're horrific as they are. I don't think they need anything more. But hey, that's my opinion. I'm just slightly conscious on time. So what I want to do, I know we've had a discussion outside of the podcast, Matt. How was your experience with this in terms of your thoughts, obviously going into it, and then playing in it, and then afterthoughts? I mean, cause us three we've been to many events, so we've got our own kind of opinion on them anyway. But I think in terms of what would you like to see more of, and what would you improve? Not just my event, I mean just events in general.
I'll preface what I'm about to say by saying that I'm not saying that this is the correct way to play Warhammer. Like, no. I'll never yuck anyone's yum, right? Everyone can play Warhammer however they want to play Warhammer.
Yeah.
But with every year that passes, there's more and more emphasis put onto the competitive element of the game. And that's fine. That's cool. That's absolutely cool. But I think it can easily distract from why people started playing Warhammer in the first place. Like, I don't know. There might be some people that genuinely start playing Warhammer because they want to be the best and they want to be competitive and they want to take it to as far as they can. But I'm guessing that most people that start playing Warhammer is because they either look at the models and go, oh man, that's cool. Or they read the books and go, oh man, that's cool. Or they find out about the lore and go, oh man, that's cool. Or they read the video games and they're inspired by that.
No one wants to play the game for the game originally.
Yeah.
Something needs to grab you.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many times now that I hear down at the club, people they only talk about what's good.
Yeah.
Not about what's cool. And like, this was confirmed for me. There's I heard a couple of things at the event that like legit made me a bit sad. There was a Wood Elf player there who really super nice guy. I didn't play against him, but I had a good chat with him. Really nice guy. And he had
I was about to say, it Jack?
He had a stunning army. It was a third party army
Jack.
that he printed himself. The sculpts were amazing. The design was a bit more Lord of the Rings, less Warhammer. But I love Lord of the Rings. So obviously, I'm wearing a Gimli t-shirt. Like, Lord of the Rings. I love that aesthetic. His prints were phenomenal. I couldn't even tell that they were 3D printed. They looked like they'd been cast. Like, there was no layer lines. They were so smooth.
Yeah, they were lovely.
And his paint job was stunning as well. And I was talking to him about how pretty his army was. And he was like, oh yeah, I've got some Eternal Guard as well, but they'll never see the table because they're not very good. And I was like, that's so sad that like you've got these beautiful models and Eternal Guard. They're called Eternal Guard. How cool is that? Like, the lore is amazing, but he's reticent to play them just because they're not as like super optimized as other things in the list. Yeah. And like,
I'd probably just caveat that, but he's probably, I mean, I know the person is, but I think they've probably been told by someone else, anywhere else, that they're not that good. So he's thought, or maybe they're not, and that's why they've not put them in, maybe.
The thing is, he's in my narrative campaign.
Yes, yeah. So you've played him.
He should be taking units like this.
Yeah, yeah. Like you say, it's sad. It is sad. It is sad.
But this isn't a reflective. This isn't a reflection on him specifically.
Yeah,
it's a reflection on the state of the game. Like so many people's opinions and so many people's beliefs on how the game should be played is dictated by either the narrative online or the competitive meta tournament scene where so much attention is placed, because generally these are the people with the most vocal opinions online, because they're scrutinizing like the balance of the game and like trying to squeeze out every little bit. And there's a very interesting discussion to be had there about like how the rules interact and like what unit can do what and what unit can do what. But like I said initially, it's kind of like distracting. I see it kind of distracting from why we're playing toy soldiers in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think us guys, us three here, I think are very much in that mindset as well. To be fair, I mean, I run events, but I think I'm even on record saying I don't despise playing competitive events, but it's not my first port of call. I'd rather play, like I said, to this day, I think the best game Warhammer I've ever had was against you when we played with the castle and the river and stuff. So that's where my mind's at. We've all got the capacity for competitive play because we go to tournaments.
Yeah.
Preferred way for me, definitely.
There's no correct way to play Warhammer. Like there is absolutely a space for the competitive scene, and it's nice to see people like crafting the most optimized lists and like pushing it as far as they can and like giving it the best strategy and tactics they can, trying to be the best general they can. But I don't want that to be at the cost of us losing the for me, the 11-year-old kid that stumbles into a Games Workshop, sees a dwarf flame cannon and goes, what is that? Like, I want that in my life. And I think, I don't know, I'd like to see more of a balance between the two, because every year that passes, there's more and more emphasis put onto the competitive, esports element of it, kind of thing. And
I think AOS has gone that way, now.
Well, this is exactly why I've embraced Old World. I love.
Well, yeah, because we used to play AOS, didn't we, as well?
Yeah, so. I met you the first time we met was at an AOS event, and the only reason I was playing AOS because Fantasy wasn't around, and as soon as Fantasy came back, I was like, okay, cool. Like, if you look at AOS, it's possible to win the game without interacting with your opponent at all. You just
I think most of the time they do. They just one turn and done. A lot of the times, that's not a game to me. Like Liam said, you're not playing the game for the game. Then
AOS was ruined for me when I can't remember where I heard it, but someone summarized it as stand on circle, score points. And
to be fair, that's probably right.
For me, that's not a war game. It's a cool idea, and it's a good competitive scene, and it might be a good board game or whatever. But it kind of, I don't know. For me, it doesn't have the. I've been while I've been painting all these orcs, I've been listening to a lot of Jordan Sorcery's stuff, and he goes back and does like all the historical stuff, and like hearing the like old school guys, the old school game designers, the original Games Workshop game designers talking about like, especially I never played 1st and 2nd and 3rd edition Warhammer. I started 4th and 5th edition, but they were talking about how like Brian Ansell had absolutely no desire to have balanced armies at all. Balance was not like, he was actively, apparently in the early days, he was actively anti-balance because you tell a better story when it's unbalanced and it's about the story.
You do, yeah. Of course you do, yeah. Nobody wants the same armies doing the same thing. Exactly. Like Horus Heresy has already got the backstory. The game, I don't think, quite correlates to the storyline because it's just Space Marines, toughness 4 bolt guns at each other. That's all that is. In terms of game, that's probably about as balanced GW is going to get in terms of the game.
I think we touched on it before as well, where when we went to the sort of Throne of Schools event, and we sort of went in thinking it was going to be a relatively fluffy event. People taking sort of
how wrong were we?
People not focusing on the min-max list, just taking stuff for the sake of taking it, and then we've obviously talked about it before, but we were hearing people at the event saying, "Oh, I was going to take a fluffy event," and then I saw the first couple of lists online, and then saw what they were like. So then suddenly I had to change my list to be able to sort of fit in with like be as competitive as those. And yeah. So but
it's like it's like you don't have to take Ruby Ring of Ruin and Talisman of Protection in every single list that you do.
What do you mean?
you can take more flavorful items if you want.
Which Dan's event sort of was quite good at, when it didn't allow duplicate items unless they're extremely common across the team. So so Rob got in there early and grabbed the good items, and sort of I had to sort of spend 80 points on my Armor of Destiny or whatever it was, and so my dragon sort of suddenly didn't have that much extra sort of punch in him and that sort of stuff. So I think it was quite nice to see. There's definitely some items there that you didn't usually see.
I will also say that I'm generally not a competitive person at all in anything in my life. So this is not just.
I've known you for a few years now, and I've never seen that in you.
It's not just Warhammer. Like everything. Like I play football in a 6-a-side league. Like I'd like to win, but it's not the end of the world if I don't. I'm just happy to be playing football. It's the same with Warhammer. Like I don't care if I win or lose Warhammer. I'm just happy to be playing Warhammer.
Yeah, I wish everyone was as happy as you.
I didn't say I'm a happy person. I'm happy.
Oh yeah, sorry, sorry. I wish everyone was happy playing Warhammer like you.
Well, from it. I'm happy when I'm playing Warhammer. Yeah.
I think that caveats nicely actually into the last part of what we were going to do. I'll go around the group. Liam, we'll start with you, shall we? So, question for everyone is, what would you like to see in the future in terms of the game itself? Would it be armies, ways to play? Do you want them to bring a narrative book out where, like they did with a lot of the previous games where they bring the campaign books out?
You can't say Liam go first and then take the thing I'm going to talk about.
Well, go for it, Liam.
Before I get
talk to me, Liam. Talk to me.
Obviously, we've got the match play book coming out.
Yes.
So the following from that is I would like to see something around story-driven campaigns or how to run that kind of thing. So that match play book has got a section in the contents about how to run an event. Give us a book on how to do a map campaign, how to do an escalation, a full escalation campaign over months, not just an event. That kind of aspect to it. And from a personal kind of selfish point of view, I'd really like to see, for choice of any faction, it'd be Norsca. And
as an individual army.
My Walls of the Sea are great, but I want a mammoth. I want tribal shamans rather than sorcerer lords, all that kind of stuff. I want to play that way. In my narrative of that list is that's why I want it to lean. So I'd love to see that kind of thing further down the line.
Is the main leader the guys? Is it Wolfric something or
Wolfric the one?
He was in 8th edition, yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
It could be someone new.
Yeah,
I'm not overly attached to named characters. I love the idea of my tribe of warriors rampaging through the Westerlands and like gathering support from back home when here are doing well, and tribes running to their cause and getting in on the loot and the pillaging and all that kind of stuff, rather than it being this hero I've got no attachment to. I want to know how my hero is getting on and how my lord is.
Yeah, you want to play the history out, right? You want to build the history for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, you want to play the narrative. Yeah.
I've got the same model. The Marauder, my Marauder tribe chieftain or Chaos Lord, or it's a Dark Oath War Queen, and I've got her on foot. I'm building one of her on a horse. I've got her on a manticore. I've got her on a dragon. Like I want her on all of these different mounts. I need to get one on a demonic steed.
Want one on a mammoth?
Yeah, I want one on a mammoth at some point. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I think we'd all agree. We'd all be very interested in seeing that and playing through those sort of campaign. Like I'd love the idea of going to an event and it's just the Triple Crown used to do them for 8th edition. They'd basically write a brand new pack. They'd break write basically brand new armies of infamy for 8th edition, long after it was supported by GW, and sort of come up with brand new named characters, and you'd play over the weekend 5 games, and depending on how the good team did or the bad team did, the story would change as you progress through the weekend. I used to really enjoy doing that sort of stuff. It's just something new and original. And it's, really enjoyed it.
Definitely up my street. I think yours as well. I think all of ours, to be fair. I think we're all in agreement about the campaign book. I know I kind of stole Liam's thunder a little bit, but I think we are all in agreement of some form of campaign book massively. I mean, Matt, we had a discussion the other day, didn't we, about being able to write a campaign and as an event, it's so much planning. So to have someone almost kind of hold their hands through it would be amazing. So please, GW would like one of those.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job with the Path to Glory stuff in Sigmar.
But everyone hates that. But I think that's like we were saying earlier.
I think
the
there
competitive
was
side is now in AOS.
Yeah, there was. In fact, it was Luke that was running it at the Outpost for a while. We only got like 3 or 4 games before it died off, but it was a really good system of like gaining territory. Like if you get this, if you capture this territory, then it gives you this bonus to your army, or if you get this, and like there was really interesting elements in there of like building up over time and like capturing territory and losing territory, kind of like the specialist games like they do in Necromunda and stuff like that, about like how certain territories can give you certain bonuses and stuff. I did like that.
I don't think you've seen it yet, but Liam, you might have to put your campaign in the Discord, because I think Matt would actually really buzz off that.
Yeah, I'll stick it up.
Yeah, I'll get Liam to do that for you, Matty, because what Liam's done is incredible. It really is. Awesome. What about future armies then, Matt? Just again, conscious on time. We've got 14 minutes, so come on, quick fire armies. What would you like to see? Please, God, don't say orcs and goblins.
Skaven. Skaven has to be in Warhammer.
Bring back in general, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Skaven are Warhammer. There's
no reason for most of the bad things.
Well, pretty much all the other armies exist in other IPs as well. Like, you know, chivalric knights have happened other places. Like Renaissance Germans have happened other places. Like, for me, when I think of Warhammer Fantasy, I think of Troll Slayers and I think of the entire Skaven range as being like quintessentially this is Warhammer. Like they've made that like their own IP kind of thing. So Warhammer without Skaven is just a crime against humanity.
So it's arguably. Let's go on.
The other thing aside from armies that I really want to see is more Black Library integration. Is more
that'd be cool.
That's something that I think Games Workshop is missing a trick across the board. Like when they introduced the Leagues of Votann, it was basically an April Fool's joke that then was not a joke, and it's like they've got this like long running story. I can't remember what it's called, the Dawn of Fire or something. Like the 40k equivalent of Horus Heresy. Why weren't they introduced in that? It's like some huge like narrative arc. Like I think there should be more integration between Black Library and the tabletop to tell more stories and get that lore going. Because since Old World's been released, we've had Old World book.
Yeah, we had the Bretonnian one, didn't we? So I think every time they brought out a new named character, there should have been a book alongside that sort of talking about them.
There has to be one for Cathay. They have to release one with Cathay.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
You'd hope so, yeah. Something I'd read. I mean, I picked up an old one which they've re-released, which is Riders of the Dead, which I'm going to start reading. Actually,
is that Dan Abnett?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. The King.
I saw it when I went to Warhammer. I'm having that. Anything that's got the old Warhammer sign on, I buy. So, Jack, army, come on, what we got?
For me, I'd like to see game-wise the re-release of Mordheim, or some sort of skirmish-based fantasy game to sort of just supplement alongside. And then army-wise, I'd really like to see a sort of broader beastman range, so like Tiger Men. Something just a bit more flavorful than the sort of traditional goat that they've gone for. I don't know whether they could make a whole new army out of, a different army as Tiger Men, but even just some sort of regiment of renown with a different animal type that had some sort of special rules that go with them. They brought these Forsaken Goran, which just are a waste of space in the journal. They could have sort of given us something a lot more interesting. A lot more flavorful.
Dudes, isn't it, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, I just like to see a bit more, a bit more fruit to the flavor of some of these armies. But yeah, I guess as a sort of brand new army on its own, I guess Vampire Coast would be pretty cool.
God damn it! That's what I was going to say. I would be all over that. It'd be amazing.
But I guess whether
that's my choice as well.
Whether without Vampire Counts there can be Vampire Coast, I don't know. But yeah, again, another army that is quintessential Warhammer Vampire Counts. I don't know.
They've got a good crossover with the Empire as well, haven't they? Because I think the Pirates of Starossa have Empire units in the especially on Total War, like we were saying with games and stuff. They've got the Empire kind of units as well, haven't they? Got the crossbowmen and the militia and stuff like that. I don't know what. I just love to see one of the Corsals. The big walking cannon thing. That'd be amazing.
Awesome.
But that's how I bring vampires back if I had the choice of it. I wouldn't have them as this kind of not even if you're going to bring back traditional vampires, I'd have them as like an Empire subfaction. Kind of a whole Von Castine thing where they're just an elusive elector count, but the citizens love them, but they don't really see them.
Do we know what Nagash is doing in this time period?
He's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, he's dead at the minute. He's
Hellblade killed him. Not been resurrected yet.
Thing into I think is it not the start of the when Arkan starts kind of going rogue, isn't it? I think and trying to get away from the Tomb Kings, and I think did they not kill him or something? Tomb Kings, or they entomb him somewhere? If I remember right, there. I'm not that clued up on my Nagash. The only other thing in it is kind of what you said as well, Matt. Like how they've got the character series for 40k AOS. I'd love them just to do like even not necessarily the commemorative ones, but like you said, to go with books, like Jack said as well. So you have the commemorative series rather than just being in the arcane journals, bringing out like the characters. Well, we've got one here.
Give us some white dwarf content as well.
Yeah, like one of her, but then she's got her own rules to go with the arcane journals. Do you know what I mean? But then there's also a book that comes out with it. I'd like to see that. That'd be quite a good thing. I think they're missing a trick with, especially with the old world stuff. But mine would be Vampire Coast as well because they're just cool. So I think we should wrap up. But I want to say massive thanks, Matt, for coming on, mate. Appreciate all your chat, and it's been insightful. I think because I think people get bored of listening to us three sometimes or all the time. Who knows?
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for listening to my.
No, mate. I'm sure we will have you back ramblings. On. Yeah, no, I'm always up for having you back on because you're. I've said to you before, you're quite nice to listen to, aren't you, with your podcast, your videos you've done before. So,
get
lovely voice.
Box of frogs. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah. So, so what I will do is I'll try and put all the links in the comments and description. Sorry for all these.
So that's at Swords and Swords.
Yeah.
I've been there before. I went to a 40k tournament there ages ago.
It's cool. It's great.
That's good. Yeah,
nice job.
Yeah. And what I will say, as of recording, we are 9 people of 100 subs. So everyone get the likes and subscribing going.
6 people off.
6 now. 6 people. Yeah. Amazing.
Just all been listening to
not what you get for 100, but let's just get to 100 anyway. It's a milestone, isn't it, right? So
Dan said he's going to commission paint an army for whoever is off.
You can do that, Jack. Oh yeah, you need to send me something as well. Hurry up.
Hurry up. How you got it today?
And deliver it now. Right.
Anyway,
thank you, guys. Yeah. And yeah, so do all the usual YouTube stuff, like, share, subscribe, pass the pod, anything else. Comment, because that's always good.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you in a couple of weeks, yeah. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Bye.